everybody. Welcome to Real Horror. Today, first of all, I'm joined by my co-host for these streams, Vinny. How you doing tonight?
Elector. Oh, I mean, yeah, yeah. No, it's always a blast. And oh my god, again, these two episodes, some massive stuff happens in the series. Massive.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
I get.
We have some good stuff to review.
We absolutely do. Yeah, this was a killer couple of episodes. Like, no pun intended, but okay, pun intended. But yeah, happy to be here, Trina.
Yes, yes. Thank you for being here, and hello to Adam and Manlinus in the chat. Nice to see you. And yeah, so we are discussing Hannibal season 2, episodes 4 and 5 tonight.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, we will just we'll get into episode 4. This was another fantastic episode. We're seeing a lot of Will is fully on to Hannibal, and we're seeing like how it's all gonna play out with the reveal and everything. And
Mm-hmm.
yeah,
Yeah,
it's
how Will is trying to make moves to kind of keep Hannibal in the dark.
yep,
Yeah,
yep.
it's interesting.
And yeah, Emilianus is here for the elephants.
You
Yeah.
gotta bring peanuts for the elephants. That's why you haven't seen them yet.
Yes. All right. So yeah. So so episode 4 starts off with we get to see Abigail Hobbs again,
Mm-hmm.
and Will is in his happy place in his mind anyway.
Yeah.
He's like teaching her how to tie a lure, his fly fishing lures. And she says again, like what she said in an earlier episode, how like her father was a hunter and he's a fisher, and she's like, that's basically the same thing, like when you hunt and when you lure,
Mm-hmm.
and stuff like that. So we got he's unlocking a lot of stuff in his mind.
Yep.
Yeah, so we got to see that. And yeah, and so that was kind of a surprising scene,
Mm-hmm.
that he went there with Abigail, because that's such a hard topic for him.
Yeah. I thought you were gonna say that was so first season.
Yeah, well, yeah, it was. Yeah,
You know,
because like
I like how they do that though, because we're seeing a lot of what's going on in his mind, and
mhm,
as he's figuring stuff out, because he's still, by this episode, he's still in the dark about a lot of or how it actually transpired.
mhm, yep,
We've been getting little glimpses and stuff, but what is it, in 5 we actually get to find out more and what he actually sees and stuff and what he remembered. So
yeah,
like
yeah,
the way that they do the pacing, it's very, very good.
oh yeah, it's perfectly done. It's easy, and it makes note taking for these streams really easy too.
Yeah.
Um,
There was one thing that was jarring, I think, and they brought back a character that we thought
yeah,
was dead.
I know what you're referring to, and I agree.
Yeah.
I thought that too. I was like, what?
It's the only thing that the clarity was not really there. It feels like almost like it was an afterthought.
Yeah, we're
Like
definitely gonna be getting into that. We're not
yeah,
gonna. We're
yeah.
not
We
just
won't
teasing
jump
you.
the shark, but yeah. But I was just gonna say, I remember the first time I watched it, it was the same thing. It
Mhm.
was very jarring how they did that.
Mhm.
There wasn't clarity.
Yeah. Yeah. I agree. I was like, whoa, wait a minute, what?
Yeah, is this a flashback or is this happening now in real time?
Yeah, that's what I was thinking, because I was starting to thinking, uh-oh, is his
Encephalitis.
encephalitis coming back or something?
Yeah.
Because well, more happens in that episode that kind of
Yep.
has me wondering as well, because yeah, I don't remember these.
Yeah.
Bits and pieces, but no, overall, This is like new to me.
I was tempted to rewatch it again, but I don't have enough time. But
Yeah.
I'm gonna go back and watch that one again because yeah, I remember the first time I'm like, wait a minute, they went to commercial. Did I miss something? I just
Yeah.
like what happened?
I know. Yeah. It was it's a strange choice. I was not expecting that, but
Yeah,
yeah. I don't know. When we get to it, we'll have a
yeah,
more
yeah,
in-depth conversation because we have to kind of talk cryptically about it so that we don't like
yeah, yeah,
spoil it so, so
yeah.
early.
Right, right.
But yeah.
Like,
So all right, so yeah, we that's how the episode opens, and then we see Beverly visiting Will, and he looks down at the picture of the murals, and again we see that the portrait of the mural, it, all the bodies make an eye, and we
hmm,
see that reflected in his eye.
yeah,
I like how they keep doing that.
yeah.
um
It's cool.
yeah, I like that. And yeah, she's telling him how he was right about, the killer being in the mural and everything, and they figured out that the killer's name is James Gray.
Hmm.
And she's like, how did he get stitched in his own mural? And Will says, basically he's trying he's like, she's like, don't tell me it was Hannibal, and he's like basically like, you have to look at Hannibal, and she's like,
Hmm.
no, she's like resisting that.
Yeah,
And yeah, and she's like, well, I'll look for details, but I'm not going to look for Hannibal. And he's like, you'll find what you find when you investigate.
yeah.
And oh man, and that's another major thing. Whew.
I know. I
Yeah,
forgot how soon that happened.
yeah, I know.
Because like I was getting the hint of it, like, oh wait, yeah, 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 but whew,
Oh my god. Well, first of all, hey Steak. Steak says Vinny refused to spend money on a pumpkin pie when he visited Jamaica because he didn't know the pie rates of the Caribbean. Oh my god. Stig and his puns.
hey Steve, holy shit.
And a cool scene, next cool scene we see is um
That was
uh
funny.
yeah, that's a good one. He's always got good puns.
Yeah, he does. Good dude out there.
Yep. And we see a bee flying, and we're following it like we're flying along with the bee,
Hmm.
and we follow him into a nest, and it pans out, and we find out that the nest is actually in and on a dead body just lying there on like a tree
Yeah,
log thing.
yeah. Really good
And
creepy stuff.
yeah, yeah, that was wild. And then when I like how as they pan out, you see all the bees kind of flying out of his mouth.
Hmm.
That looked cool.
Yeah, that was pretty sweet.
Mm-hmm.
Again, their
And
visuals are next level and just
oh yeah,
the very unique kind of kills. Whew.
yeah, very yeah, yeah, very yeah. That's true. That is true. Like you don't. This isn't just run of the mill kind of murders here and there. This is very like a lot of imagination went into it,
Yeah,
and the story that is like the whole story on why he's there, the body's there to begin with, is
hmm,
yeah, a lot of creativity.
yeah, for sure. And
And
a lot of guest appearances.
yeah, yeah,
It's
that's true.
Christopher Plummer's daughter. Now, correct me if I'm wrong. Wasn't she the one at uh, the Hannibal's party there, or the opera house? Was that the same one?
That's a good question. I'm not sure.
Because I thought we had that conversation. We're like, oh yeah, that's the one who said that I missed those big extravagant parties that you threw.
Yeah,
Wasn't that her? And she was playing another character.
that yeah, it could be. Yeah, they could have recycled it. I know they do that on different shows, so
Hmm.
Yeah, could be recycled.
Because I
Yeah.
know, like, yeah, like when she played that other character, where she was like all dressed up and stuff, and I guess what they did here, I think you like that Frankenstein haircut with the weird bangs.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, I don't know. Yeah, I thought it was interesting. Like, but it
Mm.
rang a bell.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't really remember that party, so I can't remember if that was her or not. But yeah, very very well could be.
We're gonna have to go back and watch that episode.
Yeah, definitely. And next we are at, well, I like to call it Arkham Asylum, but it's
Yep.
Baltimore State Hospital for the Criminally Insane.
Yeah.
It's Arkham Asylum adjacent. It's, you know, it's close enough. Um, I mean, you really do expect the like Batman villains to be in there the way that it like Chilton runs it and stuff.
Yep. Yep.
Yeah.
It is really interesting.
So we see Chilton and Will talking, and it's contentious at first, um and then Will kind of plays on his ego, because if you remember from earlier, in the I think earlier in season one, Hannibal mentions that Chilton kind of is able to be played because of his ego.
Mm-hmm.
So Will plays on his ego and says, like, if you be my, soul, just my soul psych provider, then I'll let you test me and stuff like that. And
Yeah.
yeah,
I, I like the deal that he's making with him because Will knows what kind of a sick sociopath and
mm-hmm.
twisted individual that guy is. So
Yep,
he's playing him. He's playing yeah.
yep,
That idiot is playing right into his hands.
yep, yep, definitely. Yeah, like Will knows what he's doing,
Mm-hmm.
and another condition to, because has never allowed himself to be tested, so this was actually big, and he's like, under the condition that you no longer discuss our conversations with Hannibal,
Mm-hmm.
because he is recording everything and going back to Hannibal, and of course it gets back to Will
Yep.
about it. So yeah, that's one of the conditions. Chilton agrees at that point, but we find out a little more later.
Mm-hmm.
And this was this. So it's these two episodes are sad when it comes to Jack's wife.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, we see Bella having her visit with Hannibal, and she's not doing well. She needs help walking, and she's lamenting how the chemo is on her body and everything. And they have a kind of a conversation about, basically, she wants to die with dignity, as it were.
Yep.
And he tells a story of Socrates, that before he um, took his own life, that he offered up a rooster to the god Asclepius. It's the Greek god of healing or something like that,
Mm-hmm.
to pay his debt. And she's like, "What debt did he owe?" And and Hannibal goes, he realized that death wasn't a sacrifice, that it was actually a cure. And so he's reaffirming her, like, her desire to
Yeah. To
die.
offer herself pretty much,
Yeah,
going out on
to,
her own terms rather than letting this thing eat her up
yes,
completely. Yeah.
yep. And if it were anybody else, it would be compassionate,
Yeah.
but
But
it's,
yeah, we know his ulterior motives, and it's
yeah, like he can't get basic human.
you can't, because
He,
he's literally manipulating her into wanting to do it.
yep.
He's giving her validation to do it, basically.
And then the twist,
Yeah.
when, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, exactly. Manliness, her desire to self-service her own end. Yep.
Yeah.
Oh my God, Steve! If Hannibal arrived late for dinner, he'd get a cold shoulder.
Right. Holy shit.
Great. That's great.
Oh my god.
Oh man. All right. So now we're back at the bee nest, which is now a crime scene.
Mhm.
And we see how the nest is like engulfing the man like
She
he
said
is a
the
nest.
bee's nest is what she said.
Yeah, what did it sound like?
Sound like penis.
The bee's nest. Oh my god, I just realized that.
Yeah, you said it fast. I'm like, wait a minute. No, she said bee's nest.
Bee nest.
Jeez. Get your mind out of the gutter, Steve. No, I don't. He didn't say anything. He didn't say anything yet.
Well, he needs to do that anyway. But yeah, we like the bee's nest is engulfing the man, and then Price, the kind of the nerd of the group, he gives a lesson about bees and everything. And do we need to get into this? What he
No,
said?
it was very bizarre, and to me, it was unnecessary completely.
It was unnecessary. He's
Yeah,
just
he
yeah
just said something vulgar, but again, it's just to show how much he's into bees. Okay, wow, established. Because Jack just looks at him like, "What did you just say, fool?"
yeah
But let's get back to the work we got to do.
yeah basically. And yeah, so Zeller takes a look at the body, and he's like, hey, someone took out his eyes, and there's like a piece of his like piece of his skull or something missing to make room for the beehive.
Yeah.
And and then back at the lab is Beverly and Hannibal, and they're looking at James Gray's body, the
Well,
muralist.
but didn't they say like the guy was lobotomized?
Well, they reveal that later.
Oh, I thought they did it there.
Not right then and there, but
Okay.
yeah, he was lobotomized.
All right.
Um,
Oh, hmm.
yeah,
I
we
remembered it
find
different.
out that in the lab a little bit later.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Okay, I watched them both today too.
Same.
Maybe I got a little confused.
Well, it's yeah. I mean, a lot happened, so
Yeah, yeah. These both these episodes are just packed with story.
yeah, for sure. Yeah. So Beverly and Hannibal, they're looking at James Gray's body, and she says what basically the information that Will has told her, and she's like, whoever stitched him into the mural wasn't a friend or acquaintance, and all this stuff, everything that Will has told her.
Yeah.
And Hannibal says, so often you open your mouth and I hear Will Graham's voice, because he knows that she's been working cases with him, because Chilton is recording everything and
Yeah.
going back to him and telling him.
Yep. And the way that Hannibal, the way he says it to her, you could tell that he's baiting her.
Yeah.
He's basically an animal stalking his prey, kind of like just to see what information she's willing to spill.
Yep.
Because he doesn't quite know if she's on the Will Graham train yet, or still doubting him completely.
Yeah, because if he's going by the recordings, she's not like, oh yeah, I agree with you. It's Hannibal. She's been saying, don't tell me it's Hannibal. I'm not looking into him.
Yep.
So, yeah. So he's kind of like keeping her on a tight leash. Yeah. And and then she like kind of admits that she consults with Will and that he helps her with her cases as long as she investigates the murders that he's been accused of. And this kind of like piques Hannibal's interest, and he says, I'm happy to hear that. And no, he's like, no, he's not really happy to hear that.
Yeah.
And she says, I'm just happy he's not saying that you're the killer anymore. And Hannibal says, well, he's not saying that to me, at least.
Yeah. Which you could tell already. He's pressing buttons there, and the way that he's responding, you could see it on Beverly's face as she's starting to question him.
Yep.
Which is really good too. Again, that's what I like about the show. It's the subtleties and the actors and the expressions and what they're conveying to the to the viewer.
Yep. And yeah, and so they discuss like who may like who the killer may have been and everything, like who may have killed the muralist and everything. And Hannibal says, basically in order to understand the killer's pathology,
Mm-hmm.
you have to go beneath the surface. And he's like kind of like a signature, look for something
Mm-hmm.
like that. And those words come into play a little later in the episode.
Yeah.
And then we see Chilton, so Will has consented to being tested and all that stuff. So now we see Chilton giving Will some, basically his truth serum kind of stuff, and it's to kind of unlock his memories and all that.
Yeah.
And Will asks, what would the medication be to repress memories? Because if there's a medication cocktail to unlock memories, there's got to be one to do the opposite.
Mm-hmm.
And Chilton says, well, that would require tools and skills, and is very basically just it's unorthodox. And Will says, does Lecter possess these skills? And Chilton says, well, yeah, he has told me that he's open to the unorthodox when it comes to treating his patients.
Mm-hmm.
And Will goes, I wonder how that conversation came up. Yeah.
Yeah, that was good.
It's like he knows
Yep.
what's up.
Yep.
What's up, Lion Ratton? Good to see you.
Hey man, how you doing? Yeah, I do like how Will is way smarter than Chilton.
Oh yeah, leaps and bounds.
Yeah, he's playing him. He's playing them both because he knows that there's certain things that are still going to be said to the other guy.
Yep.
It is interesting too because we're seeing, especially in these two episodes, how Will is kind of, not that he's masterminding, but he's able to get his influence out from where he is.
Yep. Yeah, he's playing this really well.
Mm-hmm.
So then we see Will get injected, and we see him recover some memories, and this was cool the way they did this, how as he's kind of unlocking memories as of him sitting in the office and all this stuff and being hypnotized and all this, he starts to see Hannibal's face, and it gets kind of all messed up like a Picasso painting.
Yeah, twisted.
Yeah, that looked cool.
Yeah, like for any artists out there, if you're on a Photoshop and you lasso the face and then you go let it liquefy and you just twist the entire face, that's what was going on there.
Yep. That was very cool. Mm-hmm. I liked that. And so he says, he realizes, wait, Hannibal was inducing these seizures and bringing on these blackouts in lost time. And Chilton said, you'd really only see that reaction in someone with a photosensitive epilepsy. Mm-hmm. And Will goes, or something just as damaging like encephalitis. Mm-hmm. And Chilton is he's yeah, he's the light bulb goes off, and he's realizing
Yep.
And he goes, that would suggest a radical form of unorthodox therapy. So he knows Will's telling the truth.
Yep.
And then so right before I get into the next scene, so now Chilton is going to be Will's only psychiatrist. Mm-hmm. and he's basically cutting Lecter off. So next we see Lecter goes to visit Will, and Chilton stops him and says, you must have missed the call, but I've canceled your appointment. And he lets him know that Will's gonna be under his sole care. and all that stuff, and then they talk more, and they basically both agree to keep each other's secrets because they're both guilty of psychically driving patients. Like Chilton did
Yep.
it with Gideon, and Hannibal did it with Will.
Yeah, because Chilton, he definitely gets the confirmation from Hannibal that, yeah, his radical approaches, he's definitely been doing them, and he definitely is responsible for shit that's gone down with Will. Which should also, I mean, for that character alone, he should then start to understand what else he's capable of.
Yeah, I
So like
yeah
you said, they just kind of they agree to keep secrets, but it's like, wait a minute, you should look further into, or at least start to question. Then, wait a minute, all the stuff that Will is saying, doesn't that mean it's correct? Isn't it very possible that he's the Chesapeake killer and all that stuff?
exactly. And you would think that if, like, so he knows Will's telling the truth. So
Mm-hmm.
obviously Will's been saying, Hannibal's doing all this stuff and everything. And even if he doesn't make the connection, like even if he doesn't make the leap that okay, yeah,
Yeah.
Will's right and Hannibal's the Chesapeake Ripper,
Mm-hmm.
we know that Hannibal is a murderer in some regard.
Yeah.
And so you would think that he'd be a little more cautious with Hannibal, but he's not. He's just
Yeah.
kind of like he thinks that they can have some kind of camaraderie.
Yeah, but they still have this kind of that professional respect, even though they're both doing the wrong thing.
Yep.
Which again, I guess it also plays up to the character's ego of like he's not even looking into that type of stuff or questioning that, because he's more concerned with, hey, I have Will to myself now. I could really mess with his mind and try to get the information I want out of it.
Yep.
So, I mean, yeah, that technically still kind of makes sense.
Yep. And then okay, so and then next we see Bella and Jack. Bella is like preparing her. She's got cannabis because she's got terminal cancer, and so she's preparing her, she's preparing to smoke, and Jack's like, give me some of that, and she's like, don't you get drug tests? And he's like, oh, don't worry about it, I'm supporting my wife. And
Yeah, that was funny.
yeah, that was a funny moment.
It was.
And she tries to tell him that she doesn't want him to remember her the way that she remembers her mother's last days, because her mother died of lung cancer as well.
Yeah.
And he says, he'll remember her, how beautiful she was in Italy and where they met, and how beautiful she is right now. And she's like, good. And she kind of lays down, like, but she doesn't tell. She's not letting him know what her plans are. She knows he'll stop her.
Yeah, because I mean, they are having a nice moment finally. Because so far, what we've seen of her character, she's, because of what she was going through. Like, we never got a good read until we found out what was wrong. It almost looked like infidelity, like the way that they did a lot of stuff with the character. But that, when you find out that it's how sick she is, and then how she's trying to protect Jack from, like you said, seeing her, wither away like that. And, like, they did a really good job, I think. And their acting was fantastic. I'm sure it helps that they were actual husband and wife too.
Yeah.
At least at that point in real life.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, but still really good stuff.
Yeah. All right. And now we are at the lab, and we find out that the bee nest victim his name is Duncan Halloran, and they discover that he had a high white blood cell count, and that he had been lobotomized. And Price thinks that it could be religious, and he offers a couple of anecdotes about Hinduism and Christianity and stuff. And then Zeller's notices that there's like needle marks in different spots on his head and neck. And wait, wait a minute.
Ooh, that was a little later, right?
Yeah, I jumped ahead.
Because I think
Okay, yeah.
we're introduced to someone before.
Yes. Yeah. Okay, so yeah, while they're in the lab discussing all of that, it cuts to a man getting acupuncture, and he's complaining of his arthritis, and the acupuncturist suggests bee venom therapy for the inflammation.
Mm-hmm.
And she's sticking those like acupuncture needles in different spots and stuff, and he says that he can't feel anything, and she ends up we see her like go to perform the lobotomy.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, oh good, then you won't feel this.
Yeah.
She's trying like different areas on his face and then like behind his ear, and he's like, I can't feel anything at all. So then she lifts up his eyelid and she's got the long instrument to put in and behind the eye in order to then take the hammer and tap tap tap.
Yep.
Yeah, it was horrific.
And hello, Tree Rock.
Hey, Tree Rock, what's up?
Yeah, so it's time to pull out his bee's nest. Yes. Oh man.
Shit.
Yeah, a lot of people would be improved by a lobotomy. That's for sure.
Yeah. Could they start with people on the internet?
Yeah.
A lot of those streamers. Crazy folks, I tell you, crazy. Got small hands, smell like cabbage. No.
Then,
but yeah, the actress that they have, that's Christopher Plummer's daughter, Amanda Plummer. And yeah, she was the one that was in the beginning of Pulp Fiction. Gets up and says, "I'll execute every last one of you mofos."
Yeah. Honey Bunny.
Yeah, that's it. Honey Bunny or Baby? I don't know.
Yeah, baby. Yeah, baby. Yeah, something like that.
Yeah, we never really got proper names. They were just yeah. She's good. She plays creepy really well.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, she's in a couple episodes, I think, of Tales of the Crypt as well.
Yeah, I couldn't remember where else I had seen her, but I know I remember seeing her in other stuff. I remembered Pulp Fiction, but I couldn't remember other shows. I kept thinking X-Files, but I'm not sure.
She probably was. What's that other movie too? House on Haunted Hill, the one with what's his name? Owens, the guy with the blonde hair, the guy from Wedding Crashers. Not Vince Vaughn,
yeah, I know who you're talking about.
Yeah. There's two brothers. The one with the blonde hair with the big nose. He was in it. I remember because they said in the fireplace he was decapitated by like this lion head thing in the fireplace.
Yeah.
But yeah, she was in that movie. She was like, I guess, like one of the main stars. But yeah, she was in a ton of stuff.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, Tree Rock. That sounded like Mickey Mouse. Oh boy. There you go.
Stig says Amanda Plummer was in Freeway, a really dark modern version of Little Red Riding Hood. If you guys haven't seen it, get it watched.
Okay. Awesome.
Yeah, cool. Thanks for the suggestion.
Yeah.
Okay, so then we see it's like a park or whatever, and we see like the back of a man, and a little girl runs up and like she's getting her frisbee or ball or something like that.
Yeah.
And she's like you're not supposed to stare at the sun, and then he turns around and he has no eyes.
Yeah.
And
nuts.
Yeah, that looked That looked
He had,
awesome.
and honey was coming out of his eyes, out of
Yeah.
the sockets.
Yep. Yep.
It was creepy. Yeah, she started screaming. The way that they did it too, because they did the angle since it was a little girl, so she's kind of like looking up at him, and they brought the
Hmm.
camera to that point too. So when he turns around with the sun kind of backlighting him, yeah, it looked extra creepy.
Yeah. Yeah, it was good.
They did a good job.
And then another good shot was the next scene is in the lab, Zeller's looking at that no the guy with no eyes,
Yeah.
and the way that they're like up really close, and then the camera goes back to show his whole face.
Mm-hmm.
That was awesome camera work.
It was. It
Yeah,
was,
and
and that whole scene was just like, oh man, because like they're treating him like as if he's a corpse, but he's not.
yes, that was the weirdest thing about it.
Yeah, because it's the two of them. They're like one's looking at one arm, one's looking at the other one, and they're talking as if he's not even there because he kind of isn't since he got lobotomized.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, basically, he's a like Walking Dead.
Yeah,
He's like the zombie basically.
that was terrible.
And yeah, we see he's covered in bee stings, and they're examining him and everything, and I think it was Zeller. One of them notices that the bee stings are hiding needle marks, and Beverly's like, what's going on? And he's like, yeah, these bee stings are hiding the needle marks and stuff, and this kind of like gives her an idea. So she goes right over to James Gray's body, the muralist,
Mm-hmm.
and she notices the stitches, and then she hears Lecter's voice in her head, saying, only by going deep beneath the skin will you understand this killer's pathology.
Mm-hmm.
And so she takes that little magnifier thing and looks over the stitches, and she decides to cut into the stitches, and she's like the kidney's missing. And so that was kind of like, that's the signature.
Mm-hmm.
That's the Chesapeake Ripper's signature, is that the organ is missing.
Yep.
So yeah, so she figured that one out, and
yeah, she's starting to believe more. That's for sure.
Yep.
You know?
Yep. Yep. And then next we see Will. He's lying in his cell. He's on his little cot thing, and he has unlocked a memory of the night that what looked like when he killed Gideon,
Mm-hmm.
but he sees what really happened at Lecter's.
Yeah. Well, what we saw, he was having that seizure. He was
Mhm.
standing there, and Gideon was and Hannibal having a conversation while he was like, in that state. But yeah,
Yep.
now Will finally kind of it unlocked what Chilton did to him. It unlocked in his mind what really happened.
Yep.
So he's starting to get those pieces of the missing puzzle pieces are coming into clarity now.
Yep. Yep. So yeah, he sees that was wild. He unlocked that memory, and
Mm-hmm.
yeah. Then we see Beverly visiting Will, and he's saying like, whoever killed James Gray, took the kidney in addition to she's telling him that the killer took the kidney in addition to the leg. And it's kind of like one crime to cover another. And Will says, like a copycat, like the Chesapeake Ripper. And Will says Hannibal. He's saying Hannibal is also, because she's like, are you saying that the copycat is a Chesapeake Ripper? And he's like Hannibal is also the Chesapeake Ripper. Like, it's all just
Mm-hmm.
one person.
Yep.
And and he goes, was the kidney surgically removed? And she's like, yeah. And he goes, Lecter was a surgeon. And he's like, come on, like, put the pieces together.
Mm-hmm.
And she goes, and she tells Will about how, Lecter helped her with the autopsy, and Will's like kind of taken aback by that, and he's like, you need to stop. He's toying with you. Like, you need to stay away from him.
Yeah, he's leading you into a different direction.
Yep.
He's trying to tell you, he's manipulating you.
Yep.
So that you won't see the facts.
Only one leg then can work at IHOP. Oh my god.
Oh shit! Do they have IHOP over there?
in Hannibal, in Hannibal land,
in Stig's area.
And that's is IHOP international? Is that just American?
Yeah, I'm curious.
But they're discussing the Chesapeake
International Ripper. House of Pancakes. I mean, it should be, right?
I mean, it's international, right?
Yeah, it would only make sense.
Yeah.
We're so used to abbreviations. It's like,
I know.
Oh shit.
Yeah, it's not I as in me. It's I as in international.
Exactly.
But I digress. So she's discussing
pancakes.
Well, they're discussing they're not discussing pancakes. They're discussing Chesapeake Ripper and how he takes trophies and stuff, and
kidney pudding pie. I don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's creepy. That's his preferred organ to eat.
And this is a big one. So when she's like, okay, so we know that the Chesapeake Ripper takes trophies. Well, what is Hannibal doing? If Hannibal is the same person, what's he doing with his trophies? And Will kind of has like this flashback.
He hesitates in answering, and you just see the meals that he's eating that was given to him from Hannibal, and the same creepiness we got when we saw it originally. Like, is he feeding him people?
Yes. He has like all of the meal times flash through his mind, and he gets like this disgusted look on his face, and he goes, he's eating them. Like that would like exactly what you said. Like that was our reaction when we first saw it. It was like that disgust, that visceral disgust.
Yep. Oh my god.
And so with all the clues, they end up figuring out who the bee person is, and they pay her a visit, and we see her. She's like churning the hives. She's making the honey, and so it's Jack, Price, and Zeller, and they just question her, and she just admits to it right off. She's like, I was quieting their minds because they were in so much pain. They were suffering and everything. And she's like, I couldn't take away their pain, but at least I could make it so that the pain didn't matter to them, which is what the lobotomy does.
Yeah.
And she genuinely, like, in her twisted mind, she thought she was helping these people. She's like, I took them out to the field to die.
Basically, she confirmed all of it, but like she's looking at herself as if she is Kevorkian.
She's absolutely, like, she's unapologetic. She's like, and in her mind, she helped these people.
Right, but these people never asked for it, and which is the difference between.
No, they never asked to be lobotomized.
Exactly, they never asked for any of that. She did the one guy. He keeps complaining. It was almost like he's a hypochondriac type thing.
Mm-hmm.
She's almost trying to justify it, but like you said, with this look, with smile on her face, as if like, I did a good thing.
Mm-hmm.
No, you didn't.
Yeah,
and like, well, when it happens, what do you call it? With the guy from the lab, like he's like, Jack, like, and he just put his hand up like, let her finish.
Yeah,
because she's crazy.
Yeah, and the way that Jack is staring at her, like you're like, I don't think they expected the conversation to go that way. Like she just.
Yeah, she admitted to it all.
Yeah, she just admitted to it, and she was unapologetic. She's like, I help these people, and Jack is just looking at her like, is this for real?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Exactly. You know, in his mind, he's like, I'm gonna go home and I'm gonna smoke some more of my wife's weed because I'm gonna need it after today.
I know, right? Oh my God. So she excelled in her field. Dude, dude.
Yeah, Steve, you're gonna have to see this show.
Yeah, dude.
You really do. You're gonna love it.
Yeah, yeah. Is this so well done?
It really is.
And then we see another visit Bella has with Lecter.
Mhm.
And yeah, she's needing help walking and all that stuff. And she said she hands him a present, and it's a coin with a rooster on it, and she's like, I'm paying my debt. And so the name of it is, no, if I say it, we'll never get past it. I will never get past it.
That would Steve in the chat.
Yeah,
We'll just say it's a coin with a certain animal on it.
yeah. And then she thanks him for reminding her that death isn't a defeat, but it's actually a cure.
Mm-hmm.
And he says, "What have you taken?" And she says, "My morphine, all of it." And he's like, "You denied Jack, his goodbye." And she said, I spared him a painful goodbye and allowed myself a peaceful one."
Mm-hmm.
And then she slips away, and he says, "Goodbye, Bella." And then he takes the coin. He waits a minute. He takes the coin, tosses it in the air, and it lands, I assume, on heads,
Yeah,
because
because
or whatever.
his expression is like, well, that's a shame. Okay, like he literally made up his mind on what he was gonna do about Bella with that flip of a coin.
Yep, yep. With the coin flip, he gets up and administers her some. I assume it's Narcan, because it wakes her up, and
Yeah,
which she has taken as morphine, and I think that, yeah, the what counters that is like Narcan or something.
because as she woke up, like I think she even says it, like she's like spitting it, you see saliva coming on her face and stuff. She's like, why? Like she's trying to say why, like why didn't you let me die, kind of thing.
Yeah, she's like, no,
Mm-hmm.
no, like, no, this wasn't supposed to happen. And
Yeah,
then next week, Bella is in the hospital, and she asks like what Lecter's doing there. She's really upset.
mm-hmm.
And he hands her back the coin and says, I'm sorry I couldn't do what you asked of me. And Jack is there, and so I really love this.
Mm-hmm.
She with like what little strength she has left, reaches up and slaps him across the face
Yeah,
and tells him to get out. And you know and he's basically like Lecter is playing off that it was, he's
yeah.
just being a good doctor and
Yeah, and
good.
a good friend. Yeah,
Yeah.
this like fake kind of compassion, and you can see on Jack's face like he wants to say sorry to him, like, but also he wants to say thank you for
Mm-hmm.
saving her. But
Yep.
again, we knew this was all a play by Hannibal.
Yep.
He's manipulated. It's because it cemented the friendship with Jack even further.
Yep. Yep.
And
Because
that's
Jack.
what he wanted.
Yep. Because Jack. Only thing Jack can see is that Lecter is being an honorable guy.
Yep.
And then the last scene of the episode is Beverly.
Ooh,
Beverly can. Beverly. This is awesome. So she
intense.
finally. Yeah. Very. She finally connects the dots, and she ends up at Lecter's, and she like finds the meat in his freezer and all that stuff, and she's like, gotcha.
Well, yeah, because before that, she's literally she was talking to one of the assistant guy there. I can always forget his name. What's his name? The guy who kind of makes the bad jokes all the time.
Price. Well, there's Price and Zeller.
Yeah. So what is it? I guess the slightly younger one with the longer hair, the curly kind of hair.
Zeller.
Yeah, Zeller. So so because she got to the FBI lab or whatever. She was like, she asked, "Where's Jack?" Because I guess she eventually wanted to talk to him now, and he goes, "Oh, well, you didn't hear something happened with his wife, and yeah, he's at the hospital right now." I think he even said that it happened in Hannibal's office, and she's, "Oh, so Hannibal's there too?" He's like, "Yeah, I believe so. Yeah."
Yep.
So that's when she puts it in her head, like, oh, so he's not home, you know. So she decides to go over there and do her own little investigation. Yeah, she was looking all around his kitchen, didn't find shit. Then she picks the lock to his private freezer,
Mm-hmm.
and yeah, when she's in there, she goes, "Ah, I got you," and it's like you see the kidneys that were like um, in the what do you call it?
Like a vacuum pack.
Vacuum pack, yeah, the vacuum sealed
Yeah.
kind of thing, and in the freezer.
Yep.
And she nearly knocks over like a vase of like what was that, wine or something.
Wine. Yep.
She catches it before it breaks, but some of it hits the floor and it leaks into uh, what looks like a crack on the floor. So like with your naked eye, you wouldn't be able to tell, but because look who's hitting it, you could tell. Oh, this is a doorway. This opens. So she went down, and yeah, that's when she finds his hidden cellar, which is
Yep.
very creepy. We don't even get to see exactly what she's looking at, but her jaw's basically hitting the fucking floor as she's kind of going through. And yeah, it's big too. That area is pretty big under
Oh
there. And
yeah.
you see like
Yeah.
the plastic drapery in between rooms,
Yep.
and you know she's it looks like she because she had the gun drawn, and she lowers it, and when she turns on the light, we only see her view, and as the lights go on, she's like, "Oh my god!" And then you just see in the distance he's standing there like a wolf,
Mm-hmm.
like in a cave, and the lights just went on, which was amazing because yeah, when she does turn around, like it looks like a standoff kind of thing,
Yep.
and that he moves like faster than a cat. He reaches over and flicks the light off, and then just like darts to the side, and all we hear is gunfire, pop, 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 and it pans upward, and we see like his dining room, and one bullet hole pops through the floor under his table, under his
Yep.
dining room table. Like that was one hell of a cliffhanger episode right there.
Yep. That
That was
was
that was something. But that whole scene looked amazing.
it did.
Like
It was amazing.
he looked like a freaking yeah. He looked like a predator, like a pure animal,
Yep.
ready to pounce on his prey.
Yeah. That was wild.
Mm-hmm. That's like you're in my house now.
So yeah, it sucks because just as she puts it together, she's gone.
Yep.
And she should have listened to Will because Will told her,
Yep.
stay away from him. Just go to Jack with everything you know.
Well, technically, this is kind of yeah, because she goes, I can't without more evidence. That's why she wanted more, but it looked like she was going to talk to him anyway, and Bella did what Bella did, and kind of monkey wrenched it all.
Yep.
Because she would have never went to Hannibal's place. She only went there because she's like, oh, he's at the hospital with them.
Yeah.
That was good. It's a little funny for 25 years. But it's in my freezer.
Yeah. That episode is great.
Yeah, it was really good. That was damn good. Tree Rock. So Hannibal has a trophy wife. Where is she? I never see her.
Oh man.
This was some crazy stuff.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Yeah.
And then oh man, yeah.
And
So
5. I was so tempted after that. I'm like, no, I'm gonna shut it. I'll wait for next week. I'll wait.
yeah, I know. So yeah, all right. So so episode 5, we jump right into Hannibal preparing a meal, and we know that's Beverly. And as he's preparing his meal, he's preparing his meal for Jack and everything. We see Will's meal being prepared for him, and it's slop and all that. What inmates get.
Yeah.
The contrast is like funny, and Jack is thanking Hannibal for not allowing Bella to take her own life and everything, and of course Hannibal's basically pretending to be the hero.
Yeah.
um yeah, so and then next we see Freddie Lowndes at that observatory, and like, so there's like something dripping, and she snaps a photo, and then next we see FBI. We don't see anything other than that, but the next we
Oh
see
well,
is
that was a pretty big buildup when she goes to the observatory, because like, what the hell is she doing there? Because that's the
yeah,
crime scene of those other murders. When
yep,
we found the one FBI agent's arm, that's where Gideon took Chilton to take out his guts and everything. It's the
mm-hmm,
same place. So yeah, she goes in there. She was all the way to the second floor, and she's horrified at what she sees, but at the same time, she whips out her camera and starts taking photos.
yep,
And yeah. Well, she called them. She called up Jack and the FBI, but
yep,
whew, that buildup was something.
yeah, yep. And it's, yeah, so the FBI gets on the scene, and Freddie warns Jack outside. She's like, let someone else do this. It's it's one of yours.
Yeah,
And but he goes in anyway, and we see, oh my god.
yeah. 'Cause he doesn't even answer her when he goes up there. You just see like his eyes balling up, like
Yeah,
welling up with the emotion, water, and everything. It's yeah.
the
What we see is horrific.
oh
I
my god.
I forgot how brutal that was. He basically so how we see it, the way that we first were shown what happened to Beverly, we're seeing from the side, and it looks like her side profile with everything she was wearing, the leather jacket, all that. And as the camera angle moves, we start to see it. She was completely dissected perfectly into like slivers from head, like he cut her completely in half, and then into another half, and into another half, and another half. There was like what 6 to 8 separate um plexiglass things. So it's like what you would see like in the museum, like when they have the real life bodies when they were showing them. Remember that was like on tour for a while in the museums.
Yep.
Like they were taking the corpse, but this they actually sliced her up like in perfect sections and all the way down. Like we saw her entire internal organs. Um, yeah, there you go. That
Yeah.
was just whew.
Yeah. So yeah, they're like the slides of, oh man.
Yeah, that was really bad.
Oh
And you're not even getting the full scope of it because like they even as they turn the camera, like you're seeing everything. It is like
yeah. Yeah.
yeah,
This, oh my god, this was nuts, this scene.
yeah,
Um and then yeah, so they let me see. Yeah, so Jack tells everybody that at the FBI, about Beverly, and announces her memorial, all that stuff. And then Jack and Alana go visit Will and they deliver the news to Will, and he says he wants to see her. So they take him, and he's in a straight jacket. They put that face guard in on
yeah.
his face. It's
Like that
the
muzzle.
the title card I use for the thumbnail I use for these streams for
Yeah,
season 2. Yeah, that clear face guard thing, and then that like dolly thing,
yeah.
because like he can't walk, he's all shackled and everything.
Hmm.
And yeah, and it looks exactly like Lecter does
Yeah,
in
the straight
in
jacket and everything. Yeah, and Silence of
yep,
the Lambs.
yep. And yeah, he looks at the slides. Well, they let him out of all the restraints and everything, and he looks at the slides, and then he imagines Beverly, in the room telling him, you always say to interpret the evidence, so interpret the evidence. So he kind of he imagines her whole, and he's recreating, everything, and then it spreads the slides out, and that looks so cool the way they did that.
Yeah, that was cool.
And as he's talking about how, like, I'll do this, and I'll leave no evidence, but she found something, she found me. He's saying, as the killer, we see that demon guy with the antlers there, like right near the slides.
Like poking his head.
Yep.
Like through.
Yep. Yep. So yeah, Will knows this was Hannibal. And Jack, says this was the Chesapeake Ripper, and Will says, it's the Ripper and the copycat. It's the same killer. It's just he's wearing different masks, and he's like, he asks Will to help me see it. And so he tells Jack that Beverly was looking for a connection between the copycat and the Ripper, and she found something. And Jack asks, who is it? Who is the killer? And Will says, Beverly made her connection. You need to make your own.
Yeah.
And because I feel like that was the right answer. Because if he had just said, it's Hannibal, what's the matter with you?
Yeah.
Jack wouldn't hear it.
No.
And Will knows that Jack would not hear it. So he tells him, you got to go with evidence leads you.
Yeah, yeah. Because Beverly found out who it was and met the Chesapeake Ripper like last night.
Yep.
You're gonna have to see it for yourself, because he goes, Will, who is he?
Yep.
And he's like, you're gonna have to find out on yourself. And he goes, then what are you doing here?
Yeah.
What did I bring you here for?
Yeah. And Will says to say goodbye.
Yeah, which is good. I like how they did that. It put a classy end on that scene.
Yep. Yeah. Yeah. Next we see Will, is back at the asylum in Chilton, and here talking, and Will is saying, you discussed my therapy with Lecter. We agreed, you weren't going to do that. And Chilton then asks, what did you and Beverly talk about? And he's like, you weren't recording that? And Chilton's like, well, it's in the privacy room. I'm by law I can't record in there. And Will goes, yeah, like that's gonna stop you.
Yeah.
So I like that Will is not taking it for granted. Like he's, whatever he says in the privacy room or wherever, he knows that it's going to be overheard.
Yeah.
So yeah, he's playing it very smart. And he says that they talked about the Chesapeake Ripper, and then the Chilton's like, you said Gideon was a Chesapeake Ripper, and Will says, wouldn't it be interesting if Gideon and I both said that the Chesapeake Ripper
is the same person?
Yeah. And Will says it's a shame that I can't talk to Gideon about the Chesapeake Ripper, because you, meaning Chilton, could be the one that catches him after all. And that's where he's playing on Chilton's ego.
Yeah, because Chilton literally, you see, like he makes like a face twitch.
Yeah,
like the excitement from ooh, like he's getting off on it, that creep.
Yep. He lights up at that prospect. And then we are back at the lab, and we find out that Beverly's body, all of her slides are all on those like exam table things.
Yeah.
And they figure out that they've identified it all, but the kidneys out of there aren't actually hers.
Yeah, they said there's different DNA. He goes, what do you mean? And he goes, yeah, whatever this killer did, after he did what he did, he took her kidneys out and replaced them.
Yep. with James Gray's kidneys.
Yes, that's right.
Yeah, and as they're talking about that, it shows Hannibal preparing
Yeah,
that kidney. Oh
because
God,
they
did that
go.
look nasty?
Oh yeah, because he goes. Yeah, he goes. Oh, he goes. What do you mean? He goes. If we could find the kidney, we could find the killer. And then that's
Yep.
when you see him preparing his meal. And yeah, he puts it in the meat grinder thing as well. And like,
Hmm.
oh my god, yeah, he's almost making like a hamburger meat out of it.
Yeah, he's making mincemeat out of
Yeah,
the
yeah,
kidney. It's disgusting.
yeah. He's grinding it, and then he makes
Hmm.
his nice little dish, and you see
Yep.
him all smiling that he's like his little victory.
Yep. And Gideon says, well, okay, so Will and Gideon end up talking, and they're discussing, who the Chesapeake Ripper is and everything, and Gideon's playing it off like he doesn't know that it's Hannibal.
Hmm.
And Will's like, why are you covering for him and stuff? And um, Gideon isn't giving in, but what he does say is, you'll never catch him. You'll have to kill him,
Hmm.
and that becomes important a little later on.
Yeah.
And then we see Chilton goes to visit Hannibal, and they discuss how it's best that they keep each other's secrets and about their unorthodox treatments and all that. And then Hannibal, is like, you got to talk to my patient. Now I would like to speak to Gideon. So Chilton agrees to that because next we see Hannibal is visiting with Gideon, and they act like they've never met. Like they introduce each other and everything, but we know that they've met.
Yeah, because
We
they're playing it up for the cameras and the audio.
yeah.
But that's what's kind of jarring too. Because at first I'm like, wait a minute, was this a flashback? Like, because
Mm-hmm.
even how like when Will's having this conversation, because we know Will, he's seeing people in his mind too. And
Yeah.
at a point, it looks like that's like Gideon isn't real, but he is.
Yeah. It's like, so I thought earlier that Will killed Gideon.
Mm-hmm.
And so we find out in this episode that Gideon is alive.
Yeah, he survived.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, because it's mentioned, and then later, like we see Gideon like 3 times or something between these scenes, and then we hear, "Oh yeah," because even in your state of encephalitis, and he goes, "Yeah, you were able to wound him greatly, but yeah, he you didn't have the clarity to kill him." So it was interesting how they did that. It almost feels like it was kind of rushed or last minute. Like we still need this character alive, so let's just write it like this. I
Yeah.
got that vibe. It's and the
It,
only time I felt like it was a little bit out of place because how jarring it was.
yeah, I agree.
You know?
It definitely felt inserted. Yeah.
Yeah,
It didn't feel it didn't like the when they had Will shoot Gideon, that felt final.
yeah, it did. Yeah, because he didn't
So
move. He just went straight down into the snow like that, face first.
yeah. Yeah. And when like things are unfinished, they make it a point to
Hmm.
make you feel like it's unfinished. So this was odd the way they did this.
Yeah,
Um, but yeah, so they're acting like they've never met and everything, and um, you know, uh, Gideon tells Hannibal that Chilton wishes he was Lecter. He wants to be Lecter,
hmm,
and Lecter's like he should be more careful what he wishes for.
yeah,
And Gideon says, "You should have been more careful with Will Graham. That man's got a bone to pick with you."
hmm,
And and then yeah, and then as Hannibal's leaving um the asylum, Freddie snaps a couple pics of him, and he's like, "That was rude, Miss Lowndes." And she's like, "Yeah, well, I'm not really concerned with manners, basically."
yeah.
And we find out she's there to interview Will. So they meet in that privacy room.
Yeah, she says it to him. She's like, "Wait, what are you doing here?" I
Yep.
said, "Well, I'm here to interview Will Graham." And she's like, I thought he doesn't like you." Well, actually, I was here by request by Will Graham. So it's like, to piss off Lecter even further.
Yep. Yep.
Because you
Yep.
can see like he wants to know what the hell they're about to talk about.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and Will says, it's good to see you, and she says it's good to see you in here where you belong.
Mm-hmm.
And she's like, why am I here? And he tells her that the person that killed the bailiff also killed the judge. He's talking about his admirer.
Right.
And he explains that the bailiff was killed in order to establish an alibi for him, and then the judge was killed for throwing out that alibi. And he's like, I think your website is a good way to establish a line of communication with my admirer. And so she ends up agreeing to it in exchange for exclusive rights to his story.
Right.
Yeah, so he agrees, and he's like, you can have all of it. And so we see her take out her recorder, and then next we see Hannibal is like listening to we hear Freddie Lounge's voice from the website, like he's watching it on his tablet.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, because we know he's an avid reader of that. So Will knew that Hannibal would be viewing that.
Yeah.
Um,
and especially the timing of when he's having this interview is all of it. Like, yeah. That's why I said, yeah, you can definitely feel like Will is trying to pull the strings now from where he is.
Yeah.
To get Hannibal on his toes.
And then we see Will is, in his little cube cell thing, and the orderly starts talking to Will, and he tells him that he has turned well, he's basically admits to being his admirer, and that he's wired the place, and he's also turned off the recording so that they could talk. And he admits that he killed the bailiff, but he didn't kill the judge. And then as he lets Will out of the cage, because Will's about to go back to his cell, Will asks why he's helping him, and he talks about how the little birds always chase the hawks away. Wouldn't it be cool if the hawks
Worked
joined
as a team.
worked as a team and chased off the little birds? And Will says that hawks are solitary, and the nurse guy is like, that's to their own detriment. And yeah, so he wants to work with Will, and then he asks, why did you want to talk to me? And Will says, I want you to kill Hannibal Lecter. And he says this as he's getting back into his cell, and we see as the nurse is walking away, Gideon is listening, so he overheard that.
Yep.
Yeah, basically, I shot the sheriff, but I didn't shoot the deputy. Yeah, it is that. That's exactly it.
Yeah.
And then Will imagines so this is where I feel like Will is descending again with his encephalitis, because he starts to imagine antlers growing out of his back, like the way that they kind of pop up out of his back.
Well, I figured it was the guilt of basically putting a hit out on someone.
That's true too. That is true too. Could be that.
That's the sense I got, because like he's having a moment of like, what did I just ask for, kind of thing.
Yeah.
I think he's feeling that guilt, because as that's happening, he rips off his shirt. In his mind, he's doing this. He's ripping off his shirt, and you see like all these spikes coming out, and it basically like he's turning into this dark stag kind of thing.
Yep.
Which, I mean, the visual was awesome.
Oh yeah, it looks great.
But as that happens, Alana pops up, and like and he's back in his own mind again.
Yep. Yeah. and she's there because she's concerned. She knows about the interview he gave to Freddie, and she's like, "You don't like him. Why did you give that interview?"
Yeah.
And she's like, "What have you done?" And all of that stuff. And as okay, so as she's leaving, Chilton stops her and asks her, why all the people with diseased minds kind of fall at her feet. It's like she's catnip for killers.
Mm-hmm.
And it was just so, what an asshole thing to say to her.
Yep.
Yeah,
because he mentions the Gideon thing and
yeah,
what he was about to offer and all that.
yeah, and she's concerned about how Gideon may be affecting Will, and she has to speak to Gideon.
Yep.
So yeah, so Alana sits with Gideon, and she, as they're talking, she asks how he found her that night, and he says that that a little birdie wanted him to find her, or maybe that little birdie wanted to give Will Graham a reason to kill him. Yeah, Hannibal being a little birdie.
Yep.
And he says, it seems that you and I are equally expendable. And she says, you were looking for the Chesapeake Ripper that night. And Gideon says, but I found Will Grimm. And she's like, Will isn't the Chesapeake Ripper. And he says, well, not yet, but he will be. And he says, I'm giving you a chance to save Will from himself. And he says that a little birdie has whispered murder into Will's ear. And she's like, who, she asks who he wants to kill.
Right.
And then next we see that giant swimming pool where Hannibal is swimming, and the nurse ends up like taking a lap or so, and like a couple laps in the pool, and then he's out and he tranks Lecter. And then okay, so next we see, so hold that, and then next we see Jack and Alana at Lecter's office, and they're looking for Lecter. And then a call comes in, and they were able to put a trace on Lecter's cell. So then the next thing we see is we're at the gym, and it's like a sauna room, and all we see is like the blood on the floor. And then it goes up, and we see Hannibal like balancing on a bucket with his arms out, like kind of like Jesus, and a noose around his neck. Yeah. So basically, like if he loses his balance on the bucket, he hangs himself.
Right. Yeah. And his arms, they're like bound on a piece of wood.
Yeah. Like his arms. Yeah, his arms are bound, and his forearms are slit, and that's where the blood is coming from. And Lecter asks if Will has sent him to do this, and all that stuff, and he says yeah, and he says, before you've completely bled out, I'm going to ask you a couple of yes or no questions, and if your pupils dilate, then it's yes. If not, it's no. And he says, are you the Chesapeake Ripper? And it hones in on Hannibal's eye, and his pupil dilates. And the
guy starts to smile.
Yeah, and then the nurse asks, he's like he's talking, and then the nurse asks, how many times have you watched, someone cling onto life just before, they die, and have you ever wondered like why they bother doing that? And Hannibal says no, he knows why. It's because life is precious. And then we see Will and Jack run into through around the pool area, and they open up a door.
Alana and Jack.
Yeah, what did I say?
You said Will.
Oh, I'm sorry, Jack and Alana. Yeah. I'm sorry about that.
Yeah, because they went straight from Hannibal's office and everything to
Mm-hmm.
when they got the ping on the cell phone, and so they went to that place.
Yep. I have a like it says Jack and Alana. I don't know why I've said Will. That's weird. But yeah. So they
That's
get
okay.
to a door and then it cuts back to the nurse, talking to that nurse guy from the asylum talking to Hannibal and he's like, "Well, maybe I'll be the Chesapeake Ripper now," like cuz he's wondering what he'll be known for and everything.
Mm-hmm.
And he goes, "Your kills will become my kills." And we know that Hannibal hates that.
Yep.
Um
Taking credit for his work.
yeah. Yeah, cuz that's what he was mad at Gideon about.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and so Hannibal says only if you eat me, and then the nurse is kind of like uh, amused and kind of like take like I don't know if he's amused and astonished at the same time.
It seems like he is. Yeah.
Yeah, it's kind of like, wow, you are messed up.
Yeah, that nurse is a good actor too. He's been in a couple of different series.
Yeah, I recognize him. I just don't know where from.
Yeah, there was like an Irish a cop show or something,
Okay.
and gangs and shit from a couple of years back, or actually around this time. Yeah, he was getting some pretty good work, that kid.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
But it's crazy because then Jack comes in and um, he has his gun drawn and like there's a good distance away and Hannibal shouts, "He has a gun, Jack," so Jack would
Yeah.
shoot and he did. He shot him in the chest.
Yep. Yeah.
So,
He takes a shot and nurse falls on the floor, and then I like how so when Hannibal was balanced on the bucket, he remarks how kicking the bucket literally is when you are going to hang yourself and you kick the bucket from underneath yourself.
mm-hmm.
That's how
that's the original term.
yeah, that's what kicking the bucket means. And so as the nurse falls back on the floor, he reaches out with his leg and kicks the bucket that Hannibal's standing on.
Yeah.
And I just thought that was good writing. I like that.
That was pretty good. Yeah, because he's right there.
Yeah.
Like, if I'm going, you're going with me.
Yep.
And Jack runs over and
Yep.
he's lifting him and he's yelling for Alana to call 911.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Which is crazy seeing that visual too of Lawrence Fishburne saving Hannibal.
I know, and the look on Alana's face, like how she sees Hannibal strung up like that, and then she runs to get an ambulance, and then the last thing we see is Will imagining the sink in his cell like overflowing with blood, and that's it. That's the end.
They zoom into his face as if he is Hannibal.
Yeah, it's
He just orchestrated this horrible murder.
Yeah, this was pretty much intelligent psychopath type stuff.
Yeah.
But
we see how Will is still breaking because of Hannibal.
Yeah.
He would have never put himself in that situation where he'd be telling another serial killer to off somebody. But he knows how dangerous Hannibal is. Like he has to do what he's doing here. Yeah, pretty intense stuff.
Yeah.
Because it's also I like that they play with that morality thing. Like, what are you willing to do, or what are you willing to say in order to save more lives? Would you take out the bag? Would you sick someone like that on someone like that? That's good stuff.
Yeah. 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 It's a good thing. It's a good thing that they caught it in time, because I don't think Will would have ever lived that down.
Yeah. Yeah, that would have been something else.
Yeah.
That's crazy. Yeah, I'm really curious for the next episode, because it's like it's not definitive. Like, they don't have it in writing or anything, and there's no real proof.
Yeah, because he shut off the recording, so there's no there's definitely like deniability,
Yep.
Will can say no, that never happened. Like
Right.
just because Gideon said it
Doesn't mean it's true. Yeah. It
doesn't. Yeah.
could have been Gideon that did that.
Yeah.
It's going to come down now to Will and what he's willing to, how he's willing to act towards them, or if they question him, what he's willing to say. But
Yeah.
did he give a hint to Alana when he talked to her?
What do you mean by that?
Oh, there's something like that he's something that something he set into motion. I thought there was something along those lines.
Yeah, there's some. Yeah, he does say something like that about.
He says it. Yeah, he says it cryptically. He doesn't.
Yeah.
He doesn't come out and say what he did.
Yeah. Yeah. What he says definitively is that, I'm giving you a chance to save Will from himself.
Or Gideon, yeah. But I meant when Alana talked to Will, didn't he kind of give a hint that he had done something, like, I did something that's not good, I'm not proud of, and something along those lines?
Well, we don't see that. She asks who. What does she ask him?
I can't recall.
Let me go back.
Because, like I said, while this important stuff's going on, I'm trying to figure out shit. Like, wait a minute, how is Gideon alive? Like, that's the thing that threw me off. That's why I kind of wanted to rewatch that one a little bit, or some scenes.
I'm looking through my notes. I'm looking for where Alana visits Will. Why can't I find it now?
Okay, she saw Will, and then she talked to Chilton.
Okay, yeah. So, yeah, she asks Will what he's done, but we don't see him answer her. So we don't know what he says to her.
Yeah.
But the next thing we see is she wants to speak to Chilton stops her, and then she wants to speak to Gideon.
Yeah, because something was implied.
That's what it seems like, but yeah, they didn't. We don't see that.
Yeah, they didn't clarify it for us. Okay.
Yeah.
Just double checking.
Yeah.
All right. Yeah, these are damn good episodes.
Very. Very. Oh man, I can't believe. So next week we'll be halfway through the season already.
Yeah, that's wild.
Yep.
Actually, we're halfway through the season now, aren't we? Oh wait, no, there's 13. There's 13. That's right.
Yep.
Wow.
Yeah. Crazy.
It's getting nuts. Like I said, it's very intense. That's why I'm trying to. I can't remember season 3 at all, except for the ending. I remember the ending, but yeah, I'm like, because I know when this ends, I'm like, wait, how are they doing another season?
Yeah, I just remember bits and pieces.
Yeah, because we saw how this opened. So it's like, wait a minute. Jack knows Jack is in a very bad situation as well.
I know. How can, I don't know, their list of suspects is narrowing significantly. Beverly's gone. At the end, Jack is going to be gone. So
if he doesn't survive what happened, but it doesn't look like he's gonna.
Yeah.
That's a lot. And like I said, I can't recall season 3 at all. So except for the end. So I at the end, I mean the very, very end, and there's only like 2 characters are basically what's going on with that, but
yeah,
it's gonna be good. It's fun.
yeah, it is. It's awesome.
Totally.
But Yeah, that concludes episodes 4 and 5 of season 2 so far. That yeah, so far I mean this season is just as good as season 1.
Yep.
Um, yeah, I am digging the story very much.
Absolutely. It's fire, folks. It's fire.
Oh yeah. All right. So if you want, let everybody know what you got going on.
Yeah. Tomorrow we should be over on Tommy and the Guinea Pig Collective channel, also my channel. And yeah, we're gonna be talking toys. Um, yeah, I did get something pretty awesome that I need to do a review on. I told Tommy I got to see if I can make the time for it. If not, I'll do a couple of smaller things. But I should be all right because it's gonna be a full review I have to do. It's not gonna be a quick one because there's a lot of shit. Um, but yeah, Friday we should be doing the underground stream. I know we missed last Friday because I was at this Miami convention. Which again, thank you to all the people who came out and saw me, and the cool people I got to reconnect with and stuff. That was good. There's a couple of friends I haven't talked to since like before COVID, so it was really good to see them. Um, but
Nice.
yeah, and yeah, I have my comic books and stuff still available. I have more original artwork out there too. So if you're looking for that cool stuff, I'm also working on doing like a new video on how to kind of draw and paint up Jinx from Arcane. So yeah, I decided I'm starting to do that, and I filmed part of it earlier. So, but yeah, it's going to take some time on that one. But also, I'm still working on City of Venus too, and I'm telling you, it's going to be some really good stuff. And yeah, keep an eye out for me on some updates. There's a couple of other conventions I'm looking at or looking to do. I contacted one of them. I'm waiting to hear a reply. But yeah, it's we're doing what we could over here. And then we will be back on Sunday over on my channel, starting season 2 of Primal. The cliffhanger was incredible. Trina, did you catch up on those 2 episodes yet of Primal?
No, not yet, but I will.
Yeah, it's really good, and even Slasher, he was like, "Oh shit, I didn't know that." He's like, "Yeah, we got a couple of pretty big surprises on episode 10." So, um, yeah, it's awesome stuff, and yeah, season 2 we're going to start that one. It should be our regular time again, 8 o'clock on Sunday, and yeah, get ready because it's going to get even more crazy. We'll try again. We'll try to do like 4 of them or something like that on Sunday. It's not that I'm trying to burn through them or anything. It's just they're so much fun, and it's hard to just watch a couple of them. Like you want to watch more. So
Yeah, and they're quick episodes.
they are. 9 is really cool. They do something. It's almost like Raimi cam throughout the entire episode of 9. There's something attacking, and we don't know what it is until the very end. It's really good. I think you'll appreciate it how they handle it.
Awesome.
Yeah, it's very much like the Evil Dead camera.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm going to be catching those.
Oh yeah. Yeah, thank you, Trina. This is a blast as always, and I'm looking forward to episodes 6 and 7 coming up.
Yes, thank you as always for joining me for these streams. It's so fun to review this series. Such a great series to do.
Oh yeah.
And yeah, so anybody watching on the replay, first of all, thank you for catching us on the replay. Vinny's link to his channel is in the description for anybody that doesn't have it. And thank you guys in the chat for hanging out with us. Manliness, Stig, Tree Rock, and Lion Ratton, and Adam. Thank you guys for hanging out with us. And
all amazing people. Thank you very much.
Yes, yes. And yeah, we'll be back next Wednesday, same time for episodes 6 and 7. Yeah, everybody enjoy your night. Enjoy the rest of your week.
Hell yeah. Have a great one. Bon appetit.
Bon appetit.